from North Carolina, it's the RH3 Show.
I wasn't scared to go over there.
Look, I do this for nobody but my co-host. Because God first, didn't my co-host.
I done been doubted, I done been counted out, I done been overlooked.
Because your listeners are international, they're worldwide.
The RH3 Show starts right now.
I know I gotta praise because he set me free. The price that he paid, free me at Calvary. So I'm gonna dance and there's no stopping me. Don't ever change 'cause I got victory.
If you tell me to sing, if you tell me to move, if you tell me to praise, this is
Hey, this is Quayla.
This is DJ Nicholas, Gospel Radio from Kingston, Jamaica.
I'm Nina Taylor from The Gospel News.
Well, this is Rock River alongside Red.
You are listening to my boy Red with the RH3 Show.
And you're listening to the RH3 Show.
And you're listening to the RH3 Show.
Boss of boss. Oh, yes.
Keep it locked. Yo.
this is a sanctified church.
This is a Pentecostal move.
All right, you all, we're back for my portion of the Inside Scoop, my second part of the Inside Scoop of the Rufus News. Okay, we're back talking about the Oscars that was going on last night, and I'm here to discuss my part. And, hey, like I said, it's going to be very surprising in regards to what was done, what was said, how it should have acted, whatever. And, what have you. I personally think, I'm without the little conspiracy theory stuff, because I'm about sick of all of that. But to set it up, I personally think that, of course, people was like, well, is this real? Was it staged? No, it was real. Oh, most certainly it was real. Most certainly it was real. And, most certainly it was real. And, I'm about to call him Christopher R. Rock. Chris was up, Chris was up on the stage doing his little bit or whatever, and he was talking about, doing his jokes. And as a person of marketing, as a person of entertainment, as a person of, knowing the show runs and all of that, you have to, when you get up there, you're not going up there surprising, for one. An organization is not going to let you know, it's not going to let you get up there and let you go up there blindfolded, for two. Number three, some of it is scripted, some of it is not. But when you get up there, the host or whoever has an option to agree or not to agree with scripts. Some of that show is live. Some of that show is taped. Whatever. Whenever you go up there as being paid artists, some of that stuff is written by writers. Some of that stuff is not written by writers. Some of that stuff is, I want, you have a right to choose and approve your material. Knowing Chris Rock and how he is, this was a field day. This was a field day. And, I'm about to rock and run this thing out. Look, He's a comedian. He's a comedian. He's a comedian. Teleprompters have to be written. Teleprompters has to be done. Some of that stuff is scripted. Some of that stuff is, live. Some of that stuff, some of it is scripted. Some of it is not. Some of it is, none of it is rehearsed, but some of it is scripted. Of course, people is placed by seats, seated. They are seated. That's why that movie was done called The Seat Filler. Okay, getting back to the joke or whatever. Chris Rock did the joke based upon Jada's haircut, not her disease. Oh, well, it was her haircut, but the haircut was still based off of her disease. There were people online even making, arguments and making, making arguments and making statements or what have you, who still did not know that she had this disease or this hair condition. Let me say that. Maybe he was one of those people. Well, she, some of that stuff that she kept under wraps. Honestly, I still don't remember. I only heard it once. And whenever I heard it through a comment. I seen it through a comment. I don't remember her saying it verbally. I don't remember her saying it on, Red Table Talk. I just seen it through a comment. Like, oh, she got alopecia. I don't remember her saying that. Getting back to the Oscar night. When he said it, Will Smith got up, slapped this dude in the mouth, went back to the seat, winded back. He laughed at the joke, seen where his wife was disrespected. She looked offended, got up, hit the man in the mouth, sat back down. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. Said it again. Keep my wife blankety blank name out your mouth. Whatever. One thing that, whatever, let me say this. Let me scratch that. Whose side would you take? Rufus, Red, whatever you call me. I'm more so on being, I don't know if they knew or had a program or whatever, but everybody know Chris is a comedian. Will Smith is somewhat a all around jack of all trades. He's a rapper, he's an actor, he's somewhat a comedian, whatever. Everybody know when Chris get up there, he's cracking. He's one of those dudes that gonna crack on you and gonna, jokes. Jokes is gonna fly. Chris threw them jokes. And when he threw them jokes, at Jada about the haircut and all of that, it really did not sit well with Will. After he seen that his wife was disrespected. His wife was uneasy. And I get that. But Will let Chris get him out of character. He let him get out of character. He let him get him out of character. And it showed. He let him get him out of character. And once he got out of character, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. His character and what he stood for. Because before this, Will was an upstanding type of guy to me. To me, he was. He was an upstanding type of guy. He stood his ground even before this. When his wife drug his name through the, embarrassed him, he were in the tabloids and embarrassed, whatever. Even, people may say, and I get back still to the Oscar situation, how the way, the public, how the way, the structure of their marriage, whatever that is, that's between Will and Jada, whatever that is. But, and even if Will have done whatever, Will kept that under wraps. But Jada was open about hers in regards to August. But public humiliation, that's what I'm trying to get to. Will was still an upstanding guy. He just let all of it, whatever he went through. He never disrespected his wife. He was just a, upstanding type of guy. Up until, whatever. He took, put it like this, he took hits for his wife. He took hits for his family. He took hits. He was a good, to me, he was a good type of cat. Up until yesterday. For me, he was. He took hits. He took hits for his wife. And if, being the, if I was Jada, I would have said, look, no matter what the public said, no matter what I said, this man still stood there and still stayed with me in spite of the humiliation that he had or the humiliation that he felt. He still was here. And I felt his anger on yesterday. I felt all of that. But he let Chris Rock get him out of character. Do that make him less of a man? In some degree, yes, it does. Because I will not allow no man, no woman, or whatever see me be less of who I was and what I stood for. Act a fool in front of a whole lot of people, less knowing the whole world. You will not see me get out of character and see what I stood for in front of a whole lot of people when I could have had the opportunity to act a fool a couple months ago, or could have acted a fool whenever I was humiliated a few months ago, or humiliated, whatever. No, ma'am, no, sir. But what I will do is mollywop you when those cameras stop rolling. Because what you won't do is disrespect me or my wife on camera. You will not. And that's just the husband of me. And I know I preach and profess and talk whatever about, keeping your character and all of that. And, be angry but sin. And I get all of that. But the only reason why Will got up and hit this man is because he saw how Jada looked. He probably wouldn't have done that if, he wouldn't have saw that. Because the reason why, because he was laughing in the first place. Will was out of order when he got up and let that man get him out of character. He was out of order. He was wrong for that. He was dead wrong for that. Who I feel sorry for Chris Rock, because this man was doing his job as a comedian. You want to let a comedian who was telling jokes get you out of character? Nah, whether you meant it or not, my wife was disrespected, but I will not show my tail on this camera. What will happen is when I either see you on the streets or when I see you off camera, we're going to discuss it And if you say something out of line, something gonna happen. And that is all coming from hurt and pain. And I listen here. I'm being perfectly honest with you all. Don't get me wrong. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Of course, I would have been in the wrong. Yes, I would have. But again, Will showed his tail on that camera, and I wouldn't have given the Academy Awards organization the benefit of the doubt to allow them to see me come on their platform acting a fool like somebody did on camera yesterday. And I'll say this, and then I'll go to something else on my notes that I've written down, then I'll move on. Denzel Washington said something to Will during the commercial break behind the scenes. What did he say? He was like, Satan or the devil comes out at your highest moment, something like that. Be careful. The devil, he was not talking about the devil as in Chris Rock. No, he was not. He was talking about the devil as in, I believe the devil as in his daggone, ego himself. Watch it. And all of that came out of Will during his speech because he still did not apologize to this man on stage. I felt sorry for Chris Rock. For one, it's because you can still feel the hurt in this man because he was just, once he seen that Jada was hurt, he was apologetic. And, honestly, I don't think that he thought that Will would have acted that way. I really didn't think that he thought that Will was going to act that way. I honestly, I don't. Honestly, I don't. Honestly, I don't. I don't. I don't think he thought that Will was going to act that way. But you know what? Again, people justifying and saying that, that was a good man, that was a good husband, this, that, and the third. Quit romantically, what does this woman say online? Quit romantically, and I'll say this and move on. Quit romantically violating or, I think that's what she said. Violence or romantically something. It was something that she said and I was like, oh, I want to use that on radio. Gosh, I can't even think of it. But I mean, it was a lie. It was a lie. And I didn't agree with it at all. But if you did not get anything out of this, to put it plain and simple, Will should have kept his composure. He should have, when he said what he said, when Chris Rock said what he said, Will should not laughed at that joke because it was a joke. 2, he should have whispered to his wife and said, grab your stuff. We about to go either behind the scenes or because still he had the opportunity, he had the, had to, still receive his award. And 3, he still had to receive his award. And 3, he had to make his speech in order, just in case if he won it. But after he got that award, I would have waited outside and addressed him. I still wouldn't have hit him outside. I would have addressed him with the same kind of anger or whatever that I had inside of me. And if he would have came incorrect out of his mouth, then all bets would have been off on my mama, on my hood. That's whatever, because that's the protection of a husband in me, or the characteristic of a husband in me, and a characteristic of somebody who was also offended because you disrespected my wife in my presence. And so you have to find a common ground. No. And again, that's why I said I believe it was on Friday or Thursday, we cannot walk around here looking weak. No. As Christian believers, I meant to put that in just a few seconds ago. As Christian believers, we cannot walk around here looking weak, because if so, people snatch that out of us and walk and run all over us. No. No, ma'am, no, sir. No. 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 And so, no, we can't. And then, if it should be in us to apologize, then, rightfully so. Not, if we are out of order. And that's why I say if, because if they be offended, apologize. If not, then hey, if we're all out of order and if we're wrong, because there comes a time that if you are wrong or whatever, you would have to apologize. But, it is what it is. And so I just felt totally sorry and hurtful for Will. I mean, for Chris Rock. I really did, because this was his job. This was, and I think comedians are healers to me, and I know two of them that do a very good job of that. And if you have to come to a point of throwing blows at a comedian, you're weak. I'll be back with more of the RH3 Show with our Real Talk with Rufus discussion.
With the beat that is weight, and pray without a police complaint, and being able to turn down your dinner at 8. That means you gotta pay. Because the price that he paid for me gave to me my freedom, so I'm not in slavery. Christ made a way for me, grace me then paid for me, a way back to God through the life that he gave for me.
Peace party people. See you later.
I'm saying bye-bye.
Good night.
If anybody wanna come and play the